I recognize your fragrance. Hold up, you ain't never gotta say shit. And I know you taste this a little bit. High maintenance. Everybody else basic. You live life on an everyday basis with poetic justice.
Hey guys, it is Joy here, and I'm here with my friend Janelle.
Hey y'all.
And today we are going to be talking about HBCU versus PWI. Not really versus, but we're just gonna talk about our experiences. I go to USC, the University of Southern California, which is in Los Angeles, and
I go to Hampton University, the real HU in Hampton, Virginia.
yeah, so this is a disclaimer before y'all go crazy in these comments. Point number one, any hate comments will be deleted from this video because this video is solely for educational purposes for students in high school who are trying to choose between some schools. As you know, I do like college admissions videos on this channel, so that is why we're doing this video. And number two, these statements do not apply to every experience, and they also do not apply to every university, whether it's HBCU or PWI. So don't apply this to every school. You should talk to people at each individual school that you are interested in. So these are just about USC and Hampton and us two chicas.
All right, let's go.
I also wanted to say something else. Oh, okay. So let's get some background information. So I thought this was a good experiment because we both went to the same high school in Pennsylvania, all white people. And yeah, so let's talk about why we chose our school. So what are some schools you applied to, and then why did you choose Hampton?
Okay, so I applied to, I don't even remember. Okay. Okay, I applied to University of Pittsburgh. So I'm from Pennsylvania, so I applied to a lot of in-state schools. So Temple University, University of Pittsburgh, and that's all the Pennsylvania schools actually. And then I applied to Georgia Tech, and I applied to Hampton. And I think that's it.
And why did you choose HU?
So my mom had a lot of like familiarity with the school because she used to come down a lot, and then I wanted like, pretty much I just wanted change. Like I wanted distance from my school, from like Pennsylvania, and I also wanted like differences from like all the white people. So I got a nice change in atmosphere.
Gotcha. So yeah, so I applied to USC, which was my top choice. I applied to NYU, University of Miami. I applied to Howard, which was the only HBCU that I applied to. And I applied to Temple and then some other schools as well. But those were the main ones. And I chose USC because one, they gave me a full tuition scholarship, and two, it was my top choice school because of their like journalism communication school, which is called Annenberg, which is pretty dope. So that's why I chose to go to USC. Also, I wanted to get kind of far from home. LA is about as far as you can get. Okay, so now that you know our background, why we chose where we go, let's get into some pros and cons. So we're each gonna say 3 pros and 3 cons about our experience at HBCU and PWI, which is predominantly white institution if you didn't know that by now.
Yeah. Oh, and HBCU is historically black in college university or university. Yeah.
Okay, you wanna start with your first pro?
Okay. So, the pro of going to the first pro of going to HBCU is being surrounded by black people that are also successful or wanting to be successful. So like we said before, I went to like a mainly white high school, middle school, elementary school, preschool. So it was nice to get a change in seeing like black people doing a lot of good things and positive things. So that is like the main pro being in that situation.
Gotcha. My first pro is, I don't know if this is shallow, but like my first pro is coin, aka money. I have finessed so much money out of my school. I got them to pay for me to go to conferences. I have a full tuition scholarship, which is like $200,000. well, way more than that actually, because tuition is like 50. I don't know. It's high, y'all. I've just gotten random funding. There's so many different like scholarships that aren't really hard to get because there's a lot of donors, and USC specifically has a lot of donors. Not all PWIs have as many donors, but they're just like, oh, give this money to a student who's like this, and you'd be like, but also there's people who don't know how to finesse the money, so it's also the individual, like, are you hustling to get your scholarship money?
Makes sense. Okay. My second pro, basically there's a lot of connections. So no matter like what HBCU you really go to, there's a lot of people that that go places that have gone to HBCUs. And so when you're applying to jobs and like trying to do stuff in the real world, when like that person that's high up that went to an HBCU sees you went to an HBCU, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, you can have this internship, or yeah, you can have this job, because that's how like powerful the bond is.
Sounds dope. So my second pro is pulling the race card. And let me explain what I mean by that. So say that there is a opportunity where they're only taking like 10 people and they already chose like 7 white people, then they gonna do a black, a Latino, and an Asian for the last. And so since there's less black people, you have a better chance, especially if you know the people who are like presenting the opportunity, and it's like you that go-to black person, which is, it just works in your favor if you like work the system. So the system is against you if you think like that, but you like, well, they need a black person. Let me go to YouTube HQ. Let me go to Facebook real quick. Like, let me get this scholarship, this trip. So that is the second pro.
All right, the next one is that a lot of people, when they need minorities in their programs or whatever you're trying to do, they look straight to HBCUs. So like if you need to get, like you want to go into like a really good graduate school program and they need like minorities to build up that grad school, they'll just look at the top HBCUs they'll see, and Hampton happens to be one of them, so that works out. And then same for anything, like not just grad school but jobs and internships, so it works out in your favor.
Cool. My last pro that I've experienced at USC, and this might be really specific to USC because it's in Los Angeles and it's a private university, but accessibility. So all the professors are like really dope. I got to go to like an Oscars photo shoot because my professor was just like, who trying to go? And I was like, yeah. And so they have a lot of like industry connections, which is true with HBCUs as well, but I just thought that was like definitely in my top 3, like one of the best things I've experienced at USC. So if you guys follow me on social media and stuff like that, you see me like at all these places, and that's just because it's like a school connection. Let's get into the cons. Okay, go ahead with your first con.
All right, so Hampton's like sometimes okay, so I don't know if it's true about every HBCU, but it's very true for Hampton, where they'll just send you on like the runaround. So say you needed to like do one thing, like say you need to apply for a new student ID. So you go to the place to get the student ID, but then they'll send you somewhere else because you got to get this form from them before you can go to them. So you go to get the form, but then the people that tell you to get the form tell you to go somewhere else to get some other form for no reason. So it takes like 2 days to get something done that could have been done in like 5 minutes.
Oh no.
So, you know, black people just...
Okay, so my first con is that minorities are my first con is that minorities are advertised but not celebrated / embraced. So for example, I work at the Center for Black Cultural and Student Affairs, and there's other centers for Latino students, for Asian students, and like we are kind of like the last considered when it comes to funding, when it comes to events and things like that. So they like to like put us in pamphlets, but it's like, we need money, we want to have a safe place for us, and it's like you kind of have to explain why the space needs to exist when it should just be like a given.
So another big con is that you get really comfortable around Black people. So when you graduate or you're going to an internship in the summer, you forget that the rest of the world isn't like your HBCU. So like the rest of the world is predominantly white, like, let's be honest. And at Hampton or any other HBCU, you're gonna be like surrounded by Black people and you're used to that. So it's kind of like uncomfortable once you leave.
Gotcha. So my second con is something that a lot of you guys might be interested in when you get to college. So USC specifically doesn't have a huge USC does not have a huge NPHC Greek life. So most of the frats and sororities, like the Divine Nine, like some of them don't exist. I think we have like one that's not active, and then the rest have like between 1 and like 10 members. So if you're looking for that huge like Greek life, then USC might not be the place for you. But you can also come and like get everyone active again, start that movement if that's what you're trying to do. But if you want to come and just like be straight in it, USC might not be the best match.
Okay. And then my last con is that my school is very traditional. So a lot of things that should be online or should have been like emailed to you, it's like printed out, and they have like these events they try to make you go to for like traditional reasons, and it's kind of extra. So I mean, they care, it's just they can still update a little bit, you know.
Gotcha. So my last con is about social life / functions. So basically, if you're at a HBCU, you just show up and it's Black people, Black music, Black life. So at USC, it's like, are the Black people having a function? And like, if there is, it's usually 1, maybe 2. If they are having a function, it's like 1, maybe 2. So you have to kind of just go with whatever is happening, or you gotta cross over gotta cross the barrier. But it's not like I'm saying I don't like going to other types of parties, but when you're just not around Black people, you want to spend your weekend just socializing and things like that. So those are our pros and cons of those are the pros and cons of her HBCU experience and my PWI experience. At the end of the day, if you Black and you in college, you are doing something. Don't be bummed out if there's a certain school you wanted to go to that you didn't get to go to. You can always transfer, or you can always find out that you like your school regardless. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and thought it was informative. If you are in college, maybe comment 3 or a few pros and cons that you have with your experience, or any regrets or advice to future college students. And if you are not in college, then comment some schools that you're considering, and if this video helped you decide. So I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.